What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Burna Boy's fifth album, I Told Them. First album since Love Domini last year. Of course, Twice as Tall came out in 2020. And I think these now three albums are the first set of albums since Burna Boy really blew up and became a really mainstream international star off the strength of his African Giant album. Nowadays, Burna Boy is the face of Afrobeats music, the face of Nigerian music, and he is at the forefront of this music becoming more global and more accepted and more popular elsewhere in the world, especially in the Western world. And I've certainly been a fan of Burna Boy to this point. I thought Twice as Tall from 2020 was absolutely spectacular. And last year, I didn't like Love Domini quite as much as a record, but Last, the single off that album, was actually my song of the year in 2022. I thought that was just a jubilant, triumphant song, amazing Tony Braxton sample, big fan of it. So needless to say, new Burna Boy album, I Told Them, gets me excited. And, it's coming at an interesting time for Burna Boy because he is, I think, getting increasingly polarizing in the things he says. He has had some controversial takes, partially about Afrobeats as a genre, kind of denigrating the quality of the music from his peers and saying, I believe his quote was about most accurate Afrobeats music lacks substance. I believe he said that to Zane Lowe. Definitely a charged statement to say about your peers. He also has, I think, kind of waded into some more societal issues, comments. He's a big proponent of Pan-Africanism and a united Africa and things like that. But some of the other things he says in support of, a noble ideal as such doesn't seem to quite add up. So he's definitely ticked some people off recently, and he's had some, I think, some troubles. Like those minor legal issues and scuffles happen as well. So anyway, Burna Boy, some things have been going on. Yet I Told Them, it's funny. Like this album, I think the general sentiment about it lyrically is a Burna Boy victory lap. He's made it. He's the guy. And he's someone who, in fact, often pushes back on like the Afro beats name nomenclature for Nigerian music, and he likes to, put himself forward as the face of Afrofusion, this subgenre of Afrobeats, or really this umbrella of Afrobeats that also involves other genres like R&B and dancehall and hip hop. And I think that's all fine and good. What's interesting to me though is I Told Them, I think I like this album as a listen more than Love Domini. Not nearly as strong as Twice as Tall though. Um, lyrically, he doesn't get into some of the, I think, strong opinions he has about the world. Like, he doesn't talk about his Pan-African beliefs. It's not really on this. This is an album about flexing, for the most part. I told them, I told you so, that's fine. I think some of the best songs on this album are really awesome. It's just kind of a weird juxtaposition. Do you have like a very opinionated guy who doesn't seem to have much interest in putting those opinions in his music? And not necessarily that that's a bad thing, but to me, it's a missed opportunity, because maybe he does have more to say and it could come out in his music. But to this point, we're not really getting that. So that kind of stood out to me given the situation Burna Boy finds himself in. That situation also involves him playing stadiums worldwide. Again, the guy is killing it. Starting right off with the first track, I Told Them featuring Jizza, and then later on at the end, you have 12 Jewels featuring RZA. As much as I love to hear from the Shaolin, shout out Wu-Tang Clan, felt very tacked on, these kind of like spoken word, like outros to the song and, messaging from the Wu. Like, I don't know, it felt very much like added on. Didn't really feel like part of the song or part of the rest of the album. So those didn't really work too much for me. But I gotta say, track 4, Sitting on Top of the World, featuring 21 Savage, an absolutely epic Brandy sample. So catchy. Man, that song is awesome, and it gets that beat. The background vocals, from the sample, just so catchy. Like, I think, you know, background vocals is like the trick these days to get my attention. I don't care. I think that song is absolute blast. I don't even need the 21 feature. I think Burna Boy and the sample are doing all the work you need to do. But 21's still pretty solid on the feature, as he always is. So I really like that one. Also, we have another big feature on here. You have Cheat on Me featuring Dave. Of course, Dave and Burna Boy linked up on Dave's album 2 albums ago with the song Location. Absolutely monster hit, especially in the UK. Now, Dave returned the favor, featured on a Burna Boy album. I think Cheat on Me, also really good. Another like really catchy beat, you know, with these like layered, like sung vocals, not from Burna. Like, it just sounds so good. Of course, Dave, you know how he raps, but even like kind of the substance of this one too, like about cheat on me. You know, I thought that one really hit. City Boys, which I believe was one of the early singles, it's been blowing up on TikTok and whatnot lately. Another one, like, you know, lyrically, the City Boys stuff is a bit toxic, obviously, but the song sounds really good because it's sampling Jeremiah's Birthday Sex. You really speed up that sample with the keys, the iconic keys from Birthday Sex. Sounds really good. And Burna kind of crushes it. Those 3 songs I thought were awesome. I also really liked Tested, Approved, and Trusted. I thought the singing from Burna Boy was really good on that. The Big 7 was quite good as well. The only song I really disliked, I have to say, would be Thanks, featuring J. Cole, the second to last track. Just because the J. Cole verse is so grating, so annoying. That is the worst of preachy Cole, the worst of I'm smarter and better than you, I'm J. Cole. You know, talking about how because of his accomplishments and the things he's done for others, he thus can't be criticized. You know, it's like, dude, please. Like, also, I don't know why, like J. Cole's not the kind of guy that, like, fit the mold the way someone like him and Dave link up, Burna Boy and Dave, you know? Like, just kind of felt a bit incongruous as a collab anyway, and the verse stinks. So, don't like Thanks. No thanks, let's say. But yeah, City Boys, Cheat on Me, Sit on Top of the World, tested, approved, and trusted, Big 7. Some joints on this one. Again, it's not as succinct a record, not as, I think, bombastic and like grabbing you the way Twice as Tall was or African Giant before it. But I think for what it is, as the victory lap Burna album, as the 5th Burna album, it's pretty good. So shout out Burna Boy. I told them he did in fact do that. Let me know, how'd you feel about this Burna Boy record? I'm coming to it a little bit late, but I really wanted to make sure I got to this one just because he's a significant artist. You gotta pay attention to him. And I hope he continues to do what he's doing, which is bring, you know, his music, his culture to the world and be a big part of the globalism of music. We really like to see it. But let me know how'd you feel about this album. And for more music reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time.